Right.
No.
Well, so when he first brought that up to me, that was my first response. I go, it's not for you.
Right.
And he goes, no, that's not what I'm saying. I go, dude, whenever an alcoholic drug addict comes to me and they go, hey, Tom, what do you think about this drug? That's like going to your friends and go, hey, I got this friend.
Right. I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, just a friend. He masturbates 8 times a day. Is that bad or good? It's not me. I'm asking for my buddy. You know?
Right.
Yeah. We all know, Daniel. We all know. 8 times is too much, brother.
Right.
8 times is too much.
Well, is it different? My late night,
Luther Vandross.
yeah, my late night DJ radio voice.
Hello, ladies.
That's actually a sales
A what?
technique. Negotiations technique.
It's a technique.
Yeah, negotiations technique. Late night radio DJ voice.
Hello, ladies.
Yeah, you talk low and you slow things down and it calms everybody down and now we can negotiate.
Or it gets you horny.
Well, I'm just saying. It's a technique.
Okay.
Learn, you know?
It's all about distractions.
Right.
Watch this hand over here.
Well, you know, I gave Chris a lesson yesterday and he called me up asking me about creating a sense of urgency.
Okay.
It was funny because I was like, yeah, you're thinking about the wrong thing. You need to be concerned about creating long-term relationships. You know, you're not trying to hurry up somebody and stuff like that. And so we went back and forth. Well, while we were talking, you know, we read last night. And while we were reading, I get this message. I had sent a contract for somebody to sign. And then they sent me back this, I need to look it over. And they had already asked me 2 days worth of questions.
Right.
Which is fine. I want you to know what you're signing for sure. So anyway, he's just kind of stalling, put me on, and he goes, well, I need to look over it. Can you give me 2 more days? Well, I was sitting there with Chris, and I was like, this son of a bitch, I need this done. I go, here's how you create a sense of urgency. So I sent him a message saying, hey, you know, your lender's waiting on this, and if you want to close on time, we got to get this to him, because otherwise he can't. You know, I just gave him the truth. The truth.
Yeah.
So a few minutes later, he texts me and goes, okay, I'll sign it tomorrow. And I said, okay, hope we can get it done. Then he texts me a few minutes later and goes, I signed it. I showed that to Chris. I go, that's how you create a sense of urgency.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it was all true.
Chris might want to read the Jocko Willink book, Extreme Ownership.
Yeah, he's finished it.
He finished Jocko Willink's?
I think he finished it. He's been listening to it.
No, he did David Goggins.
Mm-mm.
He did Jocko's Extreme Ownership?
Yeah, I suggested it to him a few months ago, and he, I think he bought it, the audio, and ran through it because it's really interesting.
But there's so much stuff that you could be putting into practice, and if he's seeking a sense of urgency, he missed half that book.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a whole section about clear and concise expectations, requirements.
Right.
You don't give somebody a contract and say, hey, can you sign this as soon as possible? No. Right. You say this contract needs to be signed by X date.
Right.
You give them a time and a date.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And so people have that clear and concise because, you know, if you just randomly ask, hey, this needs to get done, well, now you're going on their time frame.
Yeah.
You're missing the whole thing. And, you know, life happens, this and that. But if you're upfront and honest from the get-go, here's all my expectations, dates, times, you know, the amounts, everything. You're setting yourself up for a little bit more success than just, hey, these things need to get done in a random order whenever you get to it. Yeah,
Right. Well,
I like
I think he's
Jocko.
talking more about, he sells floor covering. So he's talking about those kind of sales whenever somebody goes, well, let me think about it for a week or something like that. And that just happened with me. But with real estate contracts, uh, the decision is theirs. So, you can't tell them, hey, this has to be signed by a certain day, but you can tell them the consequences of what
Yeah.
happens if you don't sign it. So,
Well, I think you could still set parameters.
oh,
I
yeah.
think you can still say this form in the best interest for you should be signed by Tuesday
Yeah.
at noon.
Right.
That gives me the opportunity to do my part, right?
Right.
Instead of, hey, can you get this back to me as soon as you can?
Mm-hmm.
Can you get this back to me by tomorrow at noon?
Right. Well,
So you can do that with all that stuff.
pretty much. We're in a weird time right now because all the legal stuff and all the changes in our industry,
Yeah.
and they're really Zillow and all them can cheat and break all the rules and screw over buyers and nobody cares. But if we like accidentally say one wrong word, they're out to get us because they're trying to get rid of the real estate agents. So
Oh,
anyway, we have to be real careful because I mean, how long has it been? How long did you buy that house you live in?
my house?
Yeah, about 10, 15 years.
2010, 2011,
Yeah, so
about
14,
13,
15 years
14
ago.
years ago.
Yeah. Believe it or not, there was a lot of paperwork, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Stacks and
Yeah.
stacks.
Yeah. Guess what? It's probably doubled since then.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
even better.
So the challenge is, we're responsible for making sure they know what they're signing. When you got to go
Okay.
through all that, it's like it's hard to just send it to them and say, "Here's this book of paperwork,
All right.
and I expect you to sign it by tomorrow." And they don't even know what it is. So anyway,
Yeah.
but that's it was just a funny thing that happened. I thought,
Yeah. No,
but
absolutely.
but I think you're right. I remember the first time I went through Jocko's book. I picked up some stuff, not a whole lot, but I picked up some stuff. But it was so interesting, and
Yeah.
that's why it was like reading a novel in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? But
It
it's
was.
all true, and it's all great principles and practices.
Yeah.
But it just it was so interesting. I couldn't catch it all, and then when we studied it a little bit and talked about it, and I read it again,
Yeah.
it started hitting home a lot.
Oh, absolutely. There's some parts in that book that really kick my ass, especially for being a selfish, self-centered kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to hear the words that he says that, when you're looking at your family, when you're looking at your team, when you're looking at your whatever, all of it's your fault.
Right.
It's your fault. And he teaches you that you take credit for all the failures and give the credit for all the success. And, I mean, that's not difficult for me now, but at one point in time in my life, that made no sense to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I give credit for the success when that person didn't really do anything? It was really, I was busting my ass to get that done,
Yep.
and then to take all the blame for the failures. Why would I do that? I'm the one that was doing good the whole time.
Right.
But in order to be a true leader, you take all the blame and none of the credit.
Right. Well, when you take the credit for that kind of stuff, that usually means you're going to get to do it again. Because the people under you, they're not like, oh, he's going to take all the credit. What the hell? They half-ass it or whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
that's I liked in his book kind of the way it opened up. His one of his opening stories was when he first went to Ramadi, and they
Right.
went out on a mission, and there's some house or something that they needed to take or whatever, and the house people in the house were shooting back at them, and he said it was amazing how fierce they were fighting. And then when he finally said, well, I got to go find out what's going on, he went and knocked on the door, or like
Yeah.
he went in himself, and come to find out it was, what do they call it, blue on blue, or
Yeah, it was their own team.
it was their own team. And that's why they were putting up such a fight, because it was it's Navy SEALs against Navy SEALs. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so yeah, he took the blame for all that, and he just got there. It really wasn't his fault.
Right.
But it was, because he was the leader that day.
Yeah.
That's
In
how
fact, that
worked.
might be a good book for me to get back into.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I haven't read it for a couple years. It's been probably 3 or 4 years since I read that thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, he
It's a
wrote
good book.
Him and Leif put together another book right after that was more, it's the same, or
Yeah.
they continue the concept, but what they're trying to do is relate it more to business.
Yeah, that's called the 12 and 12.
Right.
So,
okay. Some people will get that one.
yeah.
So
Those are so yeah, no, it's I have that one. I didn't read it thoroughly.
right.
But it is a little, I don't know, to me it's a little watered down.
Yeah.
A little bit easier for the normal person to read. To somebody that's not in the military, never has been in the military, I can see how they can grasp it. But for me, after reading the original, I don't know.
Yeah. I never looked at the other one because I was like,
it's exactly the same. Just they take a lot of the military stuff out of it.
Okay.
They gear it more towards the business, and I think he did just a wonderful job in the first book, gearing it towards business. I mean, it's actually gearing it towards anything in life. You can gear it towards a friendship. You can for a marriage, fatherhood. I mean, you name it. You can allocate the principles behind it. Practice the principles in all the affairs.
Yeah,
and that's what he was trying to share.
I agree. I thought so too. The first one was, I mean, it's like the big book. You can the principles are there.
Yeah.
So utilize the principles and you're going to get good stuff.
Right. So. I remember we read it at I got my company to read it, the company I was working for at the time. And there was a couple of ladies, one specifically, she goes, I can't read this. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't read it? She goes, well, I'm reading it and I'm listening to it at the same time. And it's Jocko's voice. And she goes, it scares the hell out of me. It's like listening to Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. And then you got to take accountability.
That's right.
And she goes, my husband doesn't talk to me that way. My father doesn't talk to me that way. The hell I'm going to listen to a book where a guy's yelling at me all the time.
Yeah.
I go, he's not even yelling. He's just talking to you.
Right. He's just excited. He's got some life in his voice.
Yeah. So it was pretty funny. And she was adamant about not reading it because it's too aggressive for me.
Right. I got you. Okay.
It's like, well, he went over there to fight so you could choose to not be aggressive.
Right. So you don't have to read his book.
Yeah. That's Jake, my son's biggest thing. He always brings that up to me. Whenever I say anything and he doesn't agree, and I'll say, well, dude, what the hell? He goes, there's people that died and fought for your country. So you can do that. And he goes, yeah, they fought so I could tell you no.
Yeah.
I can tell you yes. I can do whatever I want because you fought for me. So thank you, but no.
Right.
I don't want to believe in it. And I go, that little asshole.
He's 100% right.
Using my shit against me.
Right. Well, it wouldn't be the first or the last.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking about that, the fight for your country. I was down at the VA today,
Right.
and I had to get some of my paperwork. So what happened last year was when I busted both my biceps, and I couldn't go hunting, and I had already bought the ticket, and I bought it through my Chase card. Well, I called them up and I explained what the situation was, and they said it's all right. You'll have this credit. And I go, that's great. So I'm not out any money and I can use it whenever I want as long as I use it before the date that I purchased it last year. So I called them up and I said, hey, I'm ready to use it. And they're like, absolutely. We just need documentation. I said, documentation for what? And they said, for your surgery. It's not that we don't believe you, just we need to have it in our file to show that, hey, this is the reason why. I go, I get it. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there fraudulently canceling flights, whatever, right? So I went to the VA to get my paperwork, and nobody in the whole hospital has a scanner, by the way. I was like, can you guys scan this? They're like, oh, sir.
That's old school.
We don't scan. We can photocopy it for you. And I'm like, I already have the copy right here. But the interesting part of this story was when you walk into the VA, you have to go over to the left where these administration windows are. One of them is called copay, and that's where if you have any problems with your paychecks or whatever it's going, you go and take care of that. The next window, and there's big, huge signs. It says copay. The next window, it says travel expenses, reimbursement. And then the third window states release of information. So if you have documents you need, medical information you need to take to other doctors, whatever it is, you go there, you sign a piece of paper, you get all your medical stuff. Super fast, super easy, right? So I'm at the window signing for my stuff, and this lady walks up, and she just like butts right into me and goes, I don't know what the problem is, why you can't pay me. You haven't paid me since October. I have 100% disability, and I know about you people. I've worked here for 17 years. I worked for the VA for 17 years, and I know what you people do, and I want my money. And the lady that was helping me looked at me and looked at her and then looked up, and I looked at what she was looking at, the sign that said release of information. So then the lady looked back at me like I'm supposed to say something. So I did. I looked at the lady and I said, ma'am, you're in the wrong line. She's like, what do you mean? And I pointed up. I said, this is release of information. Are you looking for documents? Are you looking for payment? Well, I'm looking for a payment. They haven't paid me since October. Don't you understand? I am 100% disabled. I worked here for she keeps repeating herself. And I go, ma'am, you're yelling at the wrong person. I don't know anything about what you're going through, what you're missing, what you're not getting, and you're in the wrong line. The line's over there.
All right.
So she stops, looks at me, and she goes, but you understand what I'm saying? I go, I have no clue. Mm-hmm. I have no clue what you're saying. And then she walks to the next window, the wrong window again, because the next one is the reimbursement.
All right.
I've been here for 17 years and you haven't paid me since October. And the whole thing goes through again. She hands the paper and the lady, she goes, first of all, ma'am, you're still in the wrong line. Second, these are the wrong forms. That's why they're not paying you. You keep turning in the wrong forms. Come to find out, she's not even a veteran.
Oh, there you go.
She worked for the VA.
Right.
And she got disability through the VA.
Okay.
But she never served like overseas, never did any war campaigns. She just was an admin for the VA. Mm. So
if you work for the VA, do you get the same benefits?
Well, you're a government employee.
Yeah, but that's not the same benefits as military, is it?
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so, but
Veterans Administration, hello.
Yeah. So I don't know the rules on that or anything like that. I'm grateful for what I get, and so
absolutely.
But it was kind of
and you
funny.
Just by the way,
listen, what?
I said, and you earned it, by the way.
Well, I appreciate that, but I was just thinking on the way out of the VI, I was like, man, I just sometimes I still feel that I don't deserve it at times, because I do have friends that people that didn't come back or didn't
Right.
come back whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all my mind thinks. I came back whole. Well, at least physically, I came back whole, right? Most of
Maybe.
me.
Mostly.
Anyways, and so I just think
What's
about that, and
what's that in Princess Bridegroom? Oh, he's only mostly dead.
mostly dead. So I don't know. I feel, I don't know. Once in a while, it's tough
I
to
understand. It's
to
okay.
to accept it,
To say thank you.
but
That's it.
that's all I can do is thank you.
Yeah.
So
So Big George always used to tell me, shut up. Just say thank you.
yeah,
Okay.
yep. So yeah, that's what I was thinking on my way out.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well,
Yeah.
groovy stuff. Well, you got all your paperwork and got it
Yeah.
over to him, I hope.
Well, this is the funniest part is I went up to the front office desk and I said, listen, I don't have a scanner at my house. And they gave me 97 pages. And I have to scan this in to give to these people. And she goes, sir, why don't you just use the app? And I said, what? She goes, well, you have the health app that gives you all your appointments and stuff, right? And I said, yeah. She goes, let me see it. And I gave her my phone. She pulled it up, went to the bottom, clicked on medical records. She goes, and then you just share any medical records you want. You just hit share. And you can email it, you can text it, you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, I just drove 2.5 hours to get down there to experience this irate lady that is adamant about yelling at people in the wrong lines just so you can tell me to do this. So
there you go. Well,
it's all about the opportunities.
That's right. I mean, you might have been the only reason that woman didn't go to jail. That's why God sent you there.
Could be. Man, you're in the wrong line.
Yeah, somebody else might have handled that a little differently.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she realizes really where she was at.
Oh,
you don't really come up behind a veteran and start yelling and screaming at the top of your lungs. Something bad could happen to you. Really, really. Right. There's some people in there that you don't do that to.
Yeah. Oh, I understand.
Yeah. I was there a few times with Amy, and I told Amy to stay really close to me. Not that these people are intentionally trying to hurt anybody, but there's some, the war does some pretty crazy things to people.
Yeah, you bet. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine it.
So it's not that they're bad people. It's just that they're in a dark place. Right. It's very difficult for them to differentiate the real from the false.
Yeah.
So just got to be respectful about it. Don't fear them, but be respectful.
Right. So. Well, I heard you, some of that PTSD stuff is, I'm going to kind of tie this together, but they don't have a, what do they call it? Ayahuasca unit down there to help with some of that PTSD. I heard Daniel was asking you about ayahuasca or something this week.
He did. He called me up. He goes, out of anybody, I figured you'd probably know what it is and if it works. I'm like, well, I personally have never taken it, but I do know a lot about it. And I know people that have taken it. And for those people, it did work, but it's just, I said that the key is the willingness. That's all it is. All the tools work if you're willing. And so the ayahuasca works, the myocilin works, AA works, the Bible works. I mean, all that stuff works. There's always solutions there.
What is myocilin?
You just got to want it.
What is myocilin?
Shrooms.
Oh, psilocybin.
What did I say?
Myocilin.
Yeah, me get some xylem. Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah, psilocybin. Yes, that whatever that is. So the mushrooms. So all of it works, but
Mm.
you just, it's what you're looking for. There are a lot of people. I mean, there's people that die from taking some of that stuff.
I bet.
There's
I
some
bet.
people that go off the deep end and never return on some of that stuff.
Right.
Uh, but if you do it in a healthy form with guidance and all that stuff, it's just a quick way to get to that moment,
Right.
to where you can see you.
Right.
That's ultimately all that stuff is. As like AA is like the oven, the
Right.
psilocybin and the uh, ayahuasca. That's a microwave.
Mm.
That's what Bill was, practicing there at the end. Try to get a quicker way to stop all these alcoholic and drug addicts from dying.
Mm.
Try to get into that moment a lot quicker.
Yeah. He was kind of headed in the right direction.
They all were until they shut
And
it down on the war on drugs.
right. And that basically stopped our psychological branch of medicine, I guess you would call it, psychology
Yeah.
and all that. That basically
Yep.
stopped them dead in their tracks, and they didn't do anything really good for.
No,
Now they're starting to do studies and experiment with it a little bit more. And of course, other countries, that's everybody here that needs that or has access goes to another country to do it. That's Ron White says that's what got him sober, or keeps him sober. He goes down. He just went down there recently, but he's done. When he first got sober, he went down there for that.
Yeah.
Or not sober, but he quit drinking. He still smokes weed and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it works. I mean, it gets you introduced to that third eye,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. He asked me about it. I was, brother, I don't know. I've heard, the stories, and I can tell you Ron White's story, and it's a ceremony. It's not a, go hang out with a couple of friends and do some crazy stuff type of thing.
no.
So, but I told him, you don't need that kind of stuff. You need to read the book. It ain't gonna come easy.
Right. Well,
I think a lot of people start looking for shortcuts.
right.
Maybe if I take this pill, potion, or lotion, I get more spiritual.
Right.
No.
Well, so when he first brought that up to me, that was my first response. I go, "It's not for you."
Right.
And he goes, "No, no, no, and that's not what I'm saying." I go, "Dude, whenever an alcoholic drug addict comes to me, and they go, 'Hey, Tom, what do you think about this drug?'" That's like going to your friends and go, "Hey, I got this friend."
Right. I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, just a friend. He masturbates 8 times a day. Is that bad or good? It's not me. It's not me. I'm asking for my buddy.
Right.
Yeah. We all know, Daniel. We all know 8 times is too much, brother.
Right.
8 times is too much.
Well, I don't know. Not if you're 16.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that was my first response. I go, "Not for you, man. You're good, bro. It won't work for you."
Yeah.
So
Good stuff.
yeah, it is that is interesting stuff. I love reading about that. It's good for some people. It is, and I'm glad that it does cure a lot of that PTSD and the traumas and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, and I told this to Daniel. I said, "Listen, that's just the beginning. Okay, you can always go back to your trauma and your addictions and all that stuff. So even if a real alcoholic drug addict did that, that's just to get him in the rooms. Okay. That does not give you a defense against the first drink. That's what the rooms are for. That's what that book is for. That's what those steps and the principles are for. It's the defense. How you get in it, ayahuasca, the shrooms, jail, wife, nut house, whatever, great. But that's not what it's going to keep you there. So he goes, "That's interesting. I didn't think about that." I go, "Yeah, just letting you know." I asked him, I said, "Do you think your friend is an alcoholic or drug addict?" He goes, No, no, no. He's always been able to have one and walk away. I was like, well, then he doesn't need to come to the rooms.
Right.
Ayahuasca, tell him to enjoy it.
I don't, it didn't sound enjoyable. Like I said, I have zero experience with it, but it
Nah.
doesn't sound enjoyable. I think they throw up
Just
and
it's
they get all whatever. I don't know. The way Ron White described it, I would think, why would you do that to yourself? But, probably the way I
well,
was drinking, people were looking at me going, why would you do that
well,
to yourself?
it's the buzz, man. It's that feeling of euphoria.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
That's all it is. It does get you a good buzz. So, but yeah, you're gonna throw up most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I used to do that with alcohol a little bit.
Yeah.
That's just getting started until you can get something to stay down for a minute, and then you're good to go.
Right. Now
Sometimes
they
it
do
takes a
say
couple
though,
shots.
when you do throw up that stuff, they say it's not the ayahuasca that you're throwing up. You're throwing up the trauma. You're throwing up the negativity. You're throwing up your addictions. That's what it's supposed to symbolize, from what I understand.
All
But
right.
it's like,
Rock on.
puke's puke, bro.
If it works, rock on.
Yeah. Yeah, get it.
Yeah. Whatever it takes to get you here. Yeah,
There it is.
Absolutely. Well, good.
So,
Well, you've had I don't know if you're ready to talk about it yet, but you kind of had an eventful day. Got some changes in
yeah.
your future
So
here.
I did. I left one employer, went back to a previous employer. It was I feel it was the right thing to do. I'm really not a big fan of complaining all the time and not doing anything about it. I share that with a lot of people. If you're not happy with where you're at, if you're not able to do your purpose, it's like walking on a freaking treadmill.
Right.
A lot of motion, but you ain't going nowhere. And it was time. I think it was, I got to keep moving. I got to, my purpose is to help and be as supportive as much as possible, and allow other people to use me as a stepping stone, or a catapult, whatever you need to get you over to that next level. And when I'm not able to do that, when I get pushed to the side and I just feel useless. And this new employer, they know that about me. They know that's what that's what I love to do, and they want me to come back.
Yeah, you worked for them before.
I did, and there was a lot of drama, and I was in the same situation. I wasn't able to do what I was hired to do, and that's why I left them. But they told me they eliminated all of that, and now it's back to the way it was supposed to be the first time. So let's see what they got.
Good. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Jocko book would be good. Good read, like you said. It's good timing for it. You got to send a couple copies to the company you're leaving.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it'd be they wouldn't read it. They'd probably burn it, but bless their heart.
They are not happy right now. They're taking it personal. And it's unfortunate. It's not personal.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a decision. At the end of the day, I mean, I don't live my life for them.
Right.
I have a family, and I have my own goals and my own future that I need to worry about. That doesn't mean I can't commit, but I think you shared it with me a long time ago. In any relationship, if it ain't working for one, there's a good chance it's not working for the other. So someone's got to say something or do something. And fortunately for me, I'm that guy that will always say something or do something.
Right.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse, brother.
I understand, but that's so true. The funny part is of that little equation, if it's not working for one and ain't working for the other, is there's always one, or seems to be one side that it's not working for, but they don't know it's not working for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's always a challenging subject, but
Yeah.
That's
Well, and typically it's been my experience when those situations come up and the other person's not is oblivious to what's going on, their first reaction is this.
right.
They point
Right. Anger,
instead of
fear.
stopping for a moment and look at, wait a second, what did I do something wrong?
Right.
What was my part in this? You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I got it. The world needs AA. We ought to write us a AA business book like Jocko.
Oh man.
We could put in our war stories about going and getting guys out of the week stay hotel and stuff like that.
Right?
You know, explain it like we're going into battle. There we go.
Yeah.
Right in here. Keep your head low because they might throw that beer bottle at you. And,
Yeah.
let them know you're here to help. Blah blah blah. All that kind of stuff. It'd be interesting. We'd write a whole book about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was interesting as
what does he say? Cover and move. Cover and move. Is that what it is?
Exactly. That's it right there. A little serpentine coming at you. I bet you there's books out there about it though. 12 steps to successful business.
Right.
12 steps to supervision or supervisor roles. I bet you they got 12 steps for everything.
Yeah, it's already written. Just read the big book and learn the steps and start practicing them in all your affairs. Hello.
Yeah.
Number 12. And
heck yeah.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Piece of cake.
It was interesting. This weekend I went and heard somebody's story. It was William's story.
Yeah.
And he did really good. And
good.
There was a part in there that when it was right before he had his moment. And he goes, yeah, there at the end, Richard and Tom came out and they were 12-stepping me. They did that a few times, bringing me tacos, taking me to meetings, sitting down, talking to me. And he goes, and they were telling me the truth and they told me the solution. And I didn't want that to be the freaking answer, but I knew that was it, the way these guys spoke. And he goes, and they were 12-stepping me. And then he said, and if you guys know anything about Richard and Tom, you would not expect anything less from them because that's what they do. I was like, well, yeah, what else?
What else do you do? Yeah.
And then after it, one of the guys came out. He was like, man, I'm surprised you were out here. I was like, well, why would I miss William's story? I'm part of it.
Right.
That's like being an extra in a movie, right?
Right.
And not going to watch the movie to say, hey, there I am.
Go see the movie, right?
So, so I knew William, I'm part of his story. Why wouldn't I want to celebrate in that? That's an amazing opportunity. So it was exciting. It was good times.
That's good. Well, that's good. He got a little practice. He told on here a while back. So he did a good job then. But
he did.
He's been working up to it. He was going to speaker meetings and stuff like that. He wants to get out there and share the solution.
He said that he wanted some feedback. I'm going to talk to him again later this week about it because there were a few things that we can tweak, but for the most part, very smooth, very good transitions. He spent more time in the solution. Even when he was talking about how it was, he would pin, parts of the solution with how it used to be. Mm-hmm. And that was really nice to hear that. And then, but the big thing is he goes, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep bettering myself on sharing my story. So he's going to try to offer his story somewhere else soon. So,
well, we can get him in over at Bel Air. I know a couple of people over there. I still have their numbers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we get them in at Bel Air, and then they do a thing on Clay Road once a month.
Yeah,
and Spring Branch has a Saturday night speaker meeting.
Yeah, well, I told you about Robert. He had asked me about telling my story over there at that place.
At Peace?
And I started laughing. He goes, what? I go, they wanted me to do my story. It was probably about 8 years ago. But half the group said absolutely not. We don't want him telling his story here. That was like the last time I went to that place.
Right.
It just started getting too sugar coated and buttery and pat each other on the butt time. And I can't do that sobriety, man.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
I need to feel.
Well, the problem is I start believing that crap.
Yeah, it's dangerous for me, man.
Yeah. You and me both. I got to stay on it enough. It's hard enough for me to stay on it without people telling me how awesome
that's
I
the
am.
real reason why I came back you're getting soft, Barry. I got to get back here and get on your ass, brother. You're getting soft.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so
I
had to quit my job and come back here to get on your ass. That's what I got to do.
The things we do.
Yeah. It's about the bigger purpose, brother.
All right.
And I get a sponsor, Preston, so
that's exciting. That's
my world is all
so
coming.
Much fun.
Oh, I can't wait.
We get him in the middle and just carry him through.
Yeah.
He can do it. He wants to do it. I think he does.
Hell yeah.
So that's good stuff. He's just an alcoholic.
Oh, yeah.
He's all. So,
he just doesn't want to be.
Doesn't want the solution. Doesn't want this to be the answer, like William said. When I heard his story the first time, William, he was like, yeah, I knew you were right, but I wasn't ready to quit, so I didn't want to do it because I knew it would work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it only works when you're ready and willing and all that stuff. So it takes what it takes.
I think that's where William, so, it talks in the book that our message it can't be frothy emotional appeal. It needs to come with depth and weight. And when he's in his story, he was talking about how he's in a shitty ass motel, paying by the day or the week, no job, no wife, everything's falling apart, no car, everything's taken away from him. And then it still took more time. But then he had the moment where he could see himself, like what Father Leo talks about. I saw me. And that's when he called up his wife and said, can you take me to Texas House? It took a little bit of time of that isolation, that darkness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets you there.
Yeah.
And so,
well, that's it. And part of you has to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Until that little part dies, then you're not going to go. So we see it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad he got up there and got to talk a little bit.
Yeah, he did real good. I got to meet his wife, his mom, his stepmom. His dad and his stepmom. And, saw a bunch of the guys there. Mel was there.
All right.
Yeah. Mel gets a kick whenever he sees me.
Yeah.
He gets all excited.
Yeah. I mentioned to him, he acted like he didn't hear me, but he was at the meeting last week. And I said, hey, dude, let's talk after the meeting. Me and Tom got our number 50 podcast coming up.
Yeah.
Dude, he was gone so fast after the meeting.
Really?
I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but he usually hangs out for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But right after the meeting, he said, all right, we'll see y'all later. Took off.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't think he wants any of that, brother.
Right. Well,
every time I talk to him about stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame because he, if he would just talk how he talks to us and all that, I guess he just don't like all the attention, but he just tells it like it is.
Yeah.
You've been sober for 40-something years. You got a pretty good perspective.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
40 years. That's crazy, dude.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Who knew? So.
I don't see it for me. 70. That means I'd be 79 years old.
All right. I'll be 80.
Yeah. I'm not seeing it, bro. I can't see myself past like 60, 65.
Why is that?
I'm an old 50, bro.
That's all right.
I'm an old 50. So,
That's okay.
I don't know.
Shit, if I can make it this far, you
I
can.
hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know. You
It gets different.
maybe.
It gets different.
Well, with that being said, I am signing us up for a 10 miler
No,
in June.
a 10K,
No.
a 10-mile
10
bike
mile.
ride.
No. It's a 10-mile trail walk run.
Okay, I'm for that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds
It just
good.
gives us an opportunity to get out there.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
But you have to be able to walk 10 miles, though.
No worries. I can do
All right,
that.
good.
Yeah, I
When
can't
was the
walk
last time
10
you
miles.
walked 10 miles?
Oh shit! I probably when I was elk hunting in
19
the mountains. Probably
1952.
no, that was 2021.
Yeah, it's been a while, brother.
Yeah, but it's no big deal. What's the big deal? I walk 10 miles a day. If you walk 20,000 steps, that's 10 miles.
Okay, good.
Roughly. Yeah.
I'm
You
signing
can
us
do
up,
it.
though.
Yeah. We can do it. I just
I
don't
think
want to be
it's
carrying an elk quarter on my back.
well. That's what we're probably going to be carrying.
At some point.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I need to go online and see if I got my tag. I think I saw an email come across saying you can find out early, but I didn't look into it yet. So I hadn't had time. I'm going to look into it. I think that comes out next month. So
Good.
fingers crossed. Hopefully we get a tag.
Okay. Tag or no tag, you're getting elk ready for September.
Yeah. Shit,
No matter what.
I'm practically there, mostly always.
Mostly dead. That's what you are. You're so full of shit.
No, man.
With your Hawaiian shirt.
Here's the difference, okay?
All right, give it to me. Here it is.
And you know this. I mean, we can get on a tennis court and we can figure this out real quick. That's the best analogy there is.
Yeah, there it is.
I do it all with my mind.
Okay.
That's it.
I'll tell you what. I'll get on a tennis court with you.
All right.
If you let me hunt you in the woods.
No, that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
It's the same freaking thing.
That's weird.
All right, I'll let you. You can hunt me in the woods. If you can catch me in the woods, you win.
Now win. Yeah. I don't want to hunt you. I want to hunt a deer, a Bambi.
Well, if you can't catch me, how are you going to catch a deer?
I would, you know what? I wouldn't trust looking for you. You do booby traps and shit like that. I'm not, yeah. No, thanks. I mean, I could get it done, but it'd be different than you thought.
Okay.
I'd have to come at it a different way. A new perspective.
You definitely have to come at it. You probably better start reading some books.
No, all I got to do is just get my little camp set up, get me a little fire going, get me a little Chapel Hill sausage out, and get that smell going.
Here, I'm coming. You win.
Here you come.
You got me.
That's it. See?
You know how hard it is for me to drive home on the weekends every Friday? I have to go past Chapel Hill store.
Yep.
Every Friday. You know how hard it is for me not to stop.
Yeah.
To get a sausage on a stick.
I know how hard it is because when I go by there, every time I go by there, I look and I go, man, the parking lot's full. Shoot, I'm missing out. Or else I go by there and there won't be but a few cars. I go, man, it's a perfect time to go in. There's nobody there. So
yeah. And you know, one thing I found out, and I didn't realize this. So when you and I and Bill did the Ride for Pie,
right?
Okay, it started at that Chapel Hill store.
Well, that wasn't the Ride for Pie.
No, that one was.
No, that was Head for the Hills. The Ride for Pie was in Sealy.
I think we went to Sealy.
Yeah, we did a $60 in Sealy.
Do you know the Chapel Hill restaurant on 290?
Yeah. Yeah, we went there.
Not the real, like the factory. I'm talking about the It's by the gas stations,
Right.
actually in Chapel Hill.
Right. That was the first time we did the gravel road thing.
There it is. Yeah,
40
the
something
gravel ride.
miler. Yeah, we did a 40
Yeah,
something miler on gravel.
remember you love that.
It fucking
So
blew. Well, the good part about it was once we finished that, I thought, well, the MS 150's piece of cake because it's on a road.
right.
And it really was a lot. In a lot of ways, it was easier. It was a hell of a lot longer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, in fact, that lady, when we were standing in line after that ride, we went to that Chapel Hill restaurant and had
right.
barbecue there. Well, I didn't know this, but they're not related to the Chapel Hill sausage store.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that. I did go in there once to buy sausage, and I looked at all the sausage, and all of it had sugar. That's when I called you up. I said, "Did you know sausage from Chapel Hill has sugar?" And he goes, "You said no. No, it doesn't."
I don't think so.
I go, "No, man. I checked every one of their sausage links, and all of them had sugar. It's not the same store. They're two different companies.
Mm-hmm.
One's a barbecue store in Chapel Hill called the Chapel Hill Store,
Right.
and then there's Chapel Hill Sausage.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's
I think it's actually, is it Chapel Hill Sausage or Chapel Hill Meat Market? It may be sausage, but I know it for the sausage.
Yeah. So,
and their little restaurant in their factory there, they load it up, dude.
It's good.
You can go home and take a nap after you eat there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, I liked it.
So,
all right. Good deal. What else you got going on?
That's about it. I go up to Dallas next week, start with the new company, and but most importantly, I'm still on my fasting journey, and that's still working out really well. My blood sugar's staying down, and I was talking to Omar. You remember Omar?
I do. Actually, I'll tell you later, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
I need to
I was
call
talking
him.
to him.
I never called him when he called me about his business thing he wanted to talk about.
Shame on you.
I know. I got to call him.
Gotta call him back. Gotta do your part, brother. And anyway, so I was doing my blood sugar, and I got this new fancy one that does blood sugar and your ketones. Because come to find out, because I stayed in ketosis for so long, that the urine sticks weren't working. They're not going to be as accurate because my body adapts. So not as many ketones are going to come out of my urine. Trust me. It's from ChatGPT. It wouldn't lie to me.
Right.
So it said in order to get a true accurate ketone count, you need to start doing the blood work if you do ketosis a lot. I get it. I bought into it. And so I did buy one, and it was a lot more accurate.
What is it, a little finger prick?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
So it works, and I like it. And the other cool thing, it goes onto an app, so it keeps track of it for me. So the next time when I go to the doctor, I can share my journey with them, and they can see the highs and ups and lows and downs and everything. But my biggest thing that's coming next is I'm going to do one of those CGMs, the continual glucose monitor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's I can get one for, I think it's like $100 for like 14 days.
Does VA pay for that? They may pay for it if you're diabetic.
See, the VA is part of the government, brother.
Okay, but
they
still
won't
your
give
doctors.
Me. Well, this is how the VA works. Bless their hearts. Okay. They need you to get sick before they can give you the things you need.
Yeah.
My thing was, hey, I don't want to be sick. I want to prevent from being sick. So why don't you let me get this so I can read it and adjust my life accordingly? Because apparently this tiger's blood thing is messing things up, when I'm supposed to be low on fasting, I'm high. When I'm supposed to be high, I'm low. So, I need to really monitor this stuff a little bit better because I got the Don phenomenon going with me. I got the insulin resistance. I got all this shit going against me. So I need to readjust. And the VA doesn't help on that part. They don't look at preventative.
Hmm.
They're more about medications.
Oh, it's triage medicine.
Yeah,
It's
that's all
actually the whole American medical style is triage medicine. It's
yeah.
not preventative. Should be
Yeah, they
preventative.
want me on metformin, they want me on insulin, they want all that stuff on me. And I stopped taking metformin. I do not do insulin. I used to be at 170 fasting. I'm now at 100 fasting.
Mhm.
So, and that's just from walking and eating right
Yeah,
and fasting.
yeah. If we
That's
do the
that's
right
it.
things, our body is amazing, and it's incredible. It takes care of itself. We just
Yeah.
don't
So,
we don't give it the opportunity.
nope. So that's why I want to do the CGM. I truly want to read. I want to see when my body's getting injected with the cortisol,
Right.
how early in the morning, how long is it lasting? Because I think it will give me my eating window a little bit better. Instead of eating too late or too early, it'll tell me when I'm supposed to eat. And that's what I'm ultimately seeking because I've already tapped into what I need to be eating, which is more of a carnivore type style diet. I do add a little bit of vegetables. I'll add cauliflower once in a while, some broccoli, maybe some zucchini and some bell peppers. But that's more for color than anything.
Bell,
It
bell
makes
peppers they have something that's good for you. I forget what it is.
literally I just do it for the color.
I think they're
Makes
also
makes
part
me
of the
feel like I'm a normal human.
right. They're also
So
part of I think the nightshade family, which some
even
people
better.
don't digest that as well.
So it's bell peppers and belladonna.
The belladonna treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. Cool.
So the
Well, I like
CGM, that's my next.
yeah.
That's
I've got a
my
couple friends that do it. The folks we camped with last summer, and they were doing carnivore, like hardcore,
yeah.
and they both got those monitors because
Okay.
he was on blood pressure medicine, blood or all kind of stuff, and diabetic medicine or insulin, blah blah blah. All this.
Yeah,
Well, now he's not on anything,
that's great.
but he's been carnivore a little over a year. But it took,
Okay.
I think it took him. He said 6 months. Within 6 months, he was off all the medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think I really do like more of the carnivore type, but man, I got a hankering for blueberries and strawberries once in a while. And that still may be part of my insulin resistant issues. I'm wanting something sweet. The great thing about it is I can eat an ass ton of blueberries. And it doesn't affect my blood sugar. It doesn't get me out of ketosis. So it works well for me.
Yeah. Well, it's actually good for you.
Yeah,
Polyphenols or whatever they have in them. Blueberries have antioxidants and all kind of stuff.
right.
Berries are good for you.
Absolutely. So I
Yeah.
eat lots of strawberries and blueberries.
Yeah.
I don't want to say a lot, but whenever I start thinking about, man, I could go for some sweet tea or I could go for some pie or something, I just grab a handful of blueberries and
Yep.
it satisfies me
Remember
for that moment.
remember Jesse Itzler?
I love Jesse Itzler.
That was his thing. His diet was only fruit before breakfast, or before noon.
Yeah, I
So
don't. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, that's all. I think he only ate fruit before noon, or if he was going to eat fruit, it had to be before noon. Either way,
Oh,
but it was
I, I don't know about that. I mean, that dude was already skinny, so he don't count.
right. Well,
I only want to talk to fat asses.
he's kind of a marathon runner. He was a long distance runner, and the thing with some of those guys is they they are actually, a lot of them are unhealthy because they're
Right.
skinny, what they call skinny fat. They don't lift or
Right.
anything. They only do cardio.
Yeah.
Turns out that's not real healthy in the long
Right.
run.
Yeah. That's how Isler met Goggins.
Right.
Yeah. Because he was, so I think Isler was out there with a team and they were taking turns around the track.
Right.
And then here comes Goggin doing the whole thing.
Right.
Never ran more than a 5K. And now he's out doing 100 miles.
Right. 100 miles
Pissing
in
it
24
on-
hours.
Pissing on himself, shitting
Right.
on himself. God, I love that guy. He's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I thought the funny part, because remember, he was trying to get into the bad water.
Right.
And the guy just laughed at him and told him, no, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And he told him to go run the do 100 miles and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
And Goggins called him up all cocky going, I did 100 miles in 19 hours and something like that. And the guy goes, yeah. Well, the object of a 24-hour race is to run for 24 hours.
Yeah.
You did 100 miles, but you didn't do it 24 hours.
Right.
So anyway, but yeah, he got in anyway. So,
Well, he had to do
obviously.
he had to do one more run before that.
Right.
Prove himself. But yeah, man, those are good books. In fact, I'm reading Born to Run right now.
Right. That's good.
Talking about the Tarahumara.
Yeah. I'm in
Such
and
a
out
great
of that.
book.
It is a good book.
Yeah.
I'm in and out of it right now too.
Yeah.
So
I tell you I read another new book called The Last American Man
you mentioned it.
about Eunice Conway.
Right. We talked about it in the last podcast.
Yeah, that was a pretty
briefly.
good book.
Yeah, you said his mom or dad started the Boy Scouts.
It was his grandfather
Okay.
was the founder of the Boy Scouts.
Right, and he did like ride a horse across America and something else.
Yeah, he did that and rode a stagecoach or something, a horse-drawn cart up to Canada and back around.
Cool.
So yeah, he's done some things, but it was an interesting book. There was a lot of good information on that. He's a damaged individual, though. You know, he never found love.
I wonder what got him in that. Did he have a hard time or things to overcome early in life, or what?
So his dad was a genius, like legit genius, and was an engineer for some oil and gas company, real good in mathematics. And so he had that high expectations, and Eunice just wasn't that kind of smart. And so his mom would notice he was getting frustrated, so she would take him out in the woods, where she was raised. You know, her dad being who he is, she was raised in the woods, you know, wrestling bears and riding horses and stuff. So she kept taking him out into the wilderness, and that was his solution. That was his release. So when it came point in time when he finally graduated from high school, he packed everything he had and was out at 17 and went right into the woods, built a teepee and never turned around, never stayed in the woods, just lived there for his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean, the big thing was in his mind, he was trying to get everybody back to the old way of living, you know, self-sufficient, off the land, treating nature with respect. You know, he had a great message. You know, the thing is, you know, it got lost in translation. You know, like there was one part where this guy comes up to him 20 years later. Oh my God, you're Eunice Conway. I remember you came to my elementary school and talked about nature and respect and all this stuff, right? And he goes, you really changed my life. And Eunice said, really, how did I change your life? And this is, I'm not shitting you, it's in the book. The guy goes, ever since I met you, I don't run my water when I brush my teeth. You changed my world.
Wow.
And Eunice said, that wasn't the fucking message. It was, you're missing, it was so much bigger
Right.
than you don't run the water while you brush your teeth. But you know what? Thank you, brother. I
Right.
appreciate that. I'm glad you're doing something to better the environment.
You got something. You got
You
something out
did.
of it. Yeah.
So it was an interesting book, but like I said, it was. I don't know if he can't see it or not, but in the whole book, whenever he's in a relationship with a woman, he treats that woman the way his father treated him.
Hmm.
You know, just have high expectations, uh, just figure it out. You know, you're smart enough. You know, things like that. And women are like, dude, no, thank you. I'm out of
Hmm.
here. You know,
Yeah.
they're wanting a partnership, and he's wanting this self-sufficient, strong-hearted woman that knows what to do without being told. And
Well, that reminds me of the graph, the hot and smart,
oh yeah,
hot and nice graph. You put that on there, you get a woman that knows all that and knows what to do without being told, and all blah 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 blah. Guess what?
that's a dude.
That's the dude.
That's a dude.
That's the dude. That's a dude.
Uh,
100%.
that's good stuff, man. Oh shit.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, cool. All right, bud. We're hitting about an hour or so.
All right.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
I'm trying to think of some interesting stuff. I didn't have a whole lot of interesting stuff. I've been fence building all week and kind of that kind of stuff. A little bit of work.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. So anyway, just family stuff. We had a birthday. One of my daughters had a birthday,
Yeah.
and kids are doing good. Can't complain.
That's
So
good.
still kicking,
I can complain, but nobody would listen, Barry.
right? Well,
I was a little frustrated with you building that fence this weekend and not calling me to come help.
oh
I was
shit,
offended. I hurt my heart right here. Broke my
yeah.
heart, brother.
You should have just come over. I was reluctant to ask you because you're home only on the weekends. You're gone all week.
Yeah.
I don't want to take you away from your family, Amy and
There
stuff.
was nobody here.
Oh
Amy
shit.
was out up in Fredericksburg.
Oh shit. Did you tell me that?
I did tell you that.
Oh, I must not. I don't know. I didn't pay
You know what
attention.
you said to me? You said, "Are you sure your arms are okay?"
Oh yeah.
My
Well,
arm, I got full release from the doctor, brother.
that's what you said. Okay. Well, guess what? Be careful what you wish for because we didn't finish it.
All right.
So
No, I think I was taken back a little bit about the whole situation. I think, and I don't think it has anything to do with you specifically. I just know, when people call on Richard Berry shows up, and does whatever he can to help out. But then when Richard Berry needs help, where's everybody at?
yeah.
And I was frustrated with that.
Oh, I understand.
Now, I don't blame myself because I did put myself out there. You
Yeah.
just didn't fucking call me.
Right. Well, I
So,
didn't really. I don't know. I didn't give it that much thought. I was, like I said, off the top of my head, I was thinking that you were home for the weekend, and then
yeah.
probably when you said something, I was worried about it because I was also watching Michael the whole time because he kind of started coming out there with us. It was me and Grant
Yeah.
were working together, and
Yeah.
one of the neighbors started helping us. But it was good to work with Grant for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, it was good. But then Michael started coming out there, and every time I turned around, and his back was froze up. He missed work
Yeah.
for a whole week.
Yeah.
And every time I turn around, he's picking up a post or doing something. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you just need to walk around, hand us a tool or something every now and then or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's good for you to be out here and you need to be out here.
Yeah.
But you don't need to be picking up stuff and all that.
I hear you.
So anyway,
And that's good.
my
I
bad.
like to hear that because, that just shows the character of who he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I love to hear that. But there's other people that are around you that call on you all the time.
Yeah.
and then they don't show up
Yeah.
ever.
That's their loss.
That frustrates me. It doesn't frustrate you. Don't focus on that. I understand. You keep your head down and you keep doing Barry,
Yep.
But I notice it.
All right.
So.
Well, if you're around this weekend,
All right.
I may get over there Thursday and work on it. Depends on the weather too. We're supposed to get a little rain.
All right.
So,
well, I know Thursday I am going back to San Marcos. I get to finish up a 4th step with my sponsee.
okay. Yeah.
So I'll be up there, but I'll be back. I'm just riding up there. I don't want to. He's going back up to Dallas at the end of the month, and I want to try to get as much done as I want to at least get the 5th step done.
Is he moving to Dallas?
I can do the. Huh?
Is he moving to Dallas?
That's where he's lived. That's where his whole his wife and kids are up there. But he had to get away from all that. He came down here to get to rehab.
Yep.
Get away from distractions and focus on what he needs to focus on.
Yep. Familiar with that.
Yeah. So he's been committed to a halfway house until he can get his shit together.
Fantastic.
And get through some steps and stuff. So
I love it.
Yeah. So that's why we've been busting it out. We got to get the 5th step done. And then I told him, I said, realistically, I could probably do the rest of the steps remotely.
Mm-hmm.
But I did tell him that I do require you to get a sponsor up there face to face.
Face to face.
And if they want to finish the steps with you, then finish them. But either way, we'll get them done.
Find out where he lives. We could probably get Myers to find him somebody that's in the primary purpose group up there.
Okay.
Some real hardcore AA stuff,
Yeah, those are the gangsters.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, we need to put it on our schedule, or else I want to anyway. There is Myers told me there's a group in the Woodlands. He sent me the guy's number, and he said that Woodlands primary purpose group is strong and they're growing. So he said,
let's go.
Call that guy. Let's go over there. So I got his number in my phone. So
find out where the meetings are.
One weekend. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Plan on it. So maybe in the next week or two. I know you're going to be.
I'll be gone next week, but after that, I'll be on normal schedule.
Okay. You going to be gone all week?
Yeah.
In Dallas?
Yep.
All right.
And then the week after that, I go up to Wisconsin to go kill some turkeys.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Where's your hat?
It's in the. I'll wear it next podcast.
Okay.
So
get ready.
In fact, I'll bring all my stuff up there. I don't know if I'll get signal, but if I can, I'll do the podcast out in the woods.
Oh, that'll be fun. We'd have to do it during the day. I was thinking about that too because I'm gonna do something with this room and change it up and make it my kind of hangout room or whatever.
Yeah.
And but then the other thing I was thinking about, we had talked about doing stuff outdoors before, but it would have to be during the day, not at dark.
Well, unless we have the rings.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I hadn't thought of that. So
I got it. I think I have two rings.
Yeah. Okay. I got a floodlight. So no, it's a for real, dude. It's a movie. It's a movie light. They call them floodlights.
Oh, I thought like it was a legit, like real floodlight.
Well, I got one of those too. I got that over there covered with a sheet. So that works just the same. But I do have
it's like a 1970 porn studio there. That's what's going on there.
If you saw my setup here, you would be like, "Oh my god,
no,
that is so janka."
Yeah,
it looks pretty good though on tape or on video here.
All right.
So anyway, a lot of fun.
Alrighty.
Okay, bud. We'll get back to it.
All right. Well, hey, right before I leave, I'm going to share this with you. I'm thinking about doing the MS-150 next year.
I couldn't hear you. Something's breaking up. I think these.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I think these earphones are sucking pretty bad.
I'm just planting the seed, brother. I'm going to start watering it. Watering it. All right. That's all I got, brother.
I can't even say that sounds good.
It's not for you, brother. It's not for you.
Yeah.
You're supposed to just suit up and show up. That's it.
Damn. I hate that.
That's right.
I hate that.
Carrying the water and chopping the logs, brother.
There you go. Well, good
All right,
stuff.
that's all I got, brothers and sisters.
Well, y'all get out and get some sun.
That's right.
It's time of year for it, so get out. Peace out.
I am not a crook.
All right, brother.
All right, y'all.
Talk to y'all later.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.